All right, so you guys wanted us to take a deep dive into this Djokovic-Sinner final coming up at the Shanghai Masters. And, well, let's just say this is much more than your average match, right? I mean, we're talking about Djokovic potentially joining this super exclusive club.
Exactly. This is about way more than just another trophy.
Yeah.
We're talking about the 100th career title here.
Huge.
Only Connors and Federer have ever hit that number.
It's crazy to think about.
It's almost impossible to overstate how big of a deal this is, you know? Like, this is the kind of thing that cements a legacy, defines a career. This could be a defining moment for Djokovic.
For sure. And to make things even more interesting, he's facing off against, well, new world number one, Jannik Sinner. His rise has been something else, hasn't it?
It's been incredible. I mean, incredible might even be an understatement at this point. He's not just clinched the year-end number one spot, but he's absolutely crushing the ATP race to Turin.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't, like, fluent in ATP rules and rankings, break that down for me. What does that actually mean in the grand scheme of things?
So the race to Turin, it's basically a point system that determines who gets to compete in the ATP finals at the end of the year. Kind of like the Super Bowl of tennis, if you will.
Okay, yeah.
And Sinner is currently sitting on a 3,270-point lead.
Wow.
Most players, they're like desperately scrambling for points just to qualify for Turin at this point in the season. And Sinner's practically got his bags packed. Like, that kind of dominance this early, it's just unheard of.
It's a statement for sure. Okay, so to recap, we've got Djokovic on the verge of his 100th win, a historic achievement going head-to-head with the guy who just dethroned him for the world number one spot, and he did it in such a dominant way, too. But this isn't their first dance, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. This is, they've got a history on the court, these two.
Fill me in.
They've played each other 7 times before, with Djokovic holding a slight edge, 4 wins to Sinner's 3.
But there's always a but.
But there's a big but here.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. Hit me with it. What am I missing?
Well, Sinner's won 3 of their last 4 encounters. And one of those wins, well, it was particularly significant. Yeah, we're talking about the Aussie Open semifinal earlier this year. Sinner didn't just beat Djokovic, he, like, straight up dominated him.
Oh, man, that match was insane. That's the one where Sinner ended Djokovic's crazy winning streak at the Australian Open.
That's the one. Djokovic had never lost a semifinal match at Melbourne Park. Ever.
It's wild.
And Sinner just shut him down. It really showed how strong Sinner is mentally, especially on such a huge stage. With Djokovic's track record there, it's one thing to beat Djokovic, but to do it when he's practically invincible at that particular tournament, that's next level.
You know, I remember reading somewhere that Djokovic was actually really impressed with Sinner after that match. He even admitted that Sinner's game had improved drastically, particularly his serve and how he handles pressure.
Right. And keep in mind, that was Sinner back then, a rising star with a ton of potential. Now, he's a 2-time Grand Slam champ in his own right. This isn't some underdog story anymore. This is a battle of the titans, a clash of the best.
This is going to be an epic final in Shanghai. Okay, so we've got the history, the rivalry, 2 players at the peak of their game. But let's break it down even further. Say we're sitting courtside at the final. What can we expect to see from each player? What are the keys to victory for both Djokovic and Sinner?
Well, with Sinner, you're going to see aggression, but in a controlled way. He's got these insanely powerful ground strokes. His forehand and backhand are like weapons.
Right.
His game plan is going to be using those to dictate the pace of the match, trying to break through Djokovic's defenses.
Which, as we know, Djokovic's defenses are legendary.
Exactly.
So Sinner really needs to bring the heat if he wants to rattle him. What about Djokovic then? How do you counter that kind of aggressive playing?
Djokovic is all about strategy and precision. You'll see him leaning heavily on his serve. Got to put Sinner in a tough spot right from the get-go. And then there's that return game of his. It's legendary for a reason. If he can neutralize Sinner's serve and force longer rallies, that's where Djokovic's experience and just like natural court sense, that's where it really gives him an advantage.
So he kind of wears the other player down?
Totally. He's a master at turning defense into offense, and he can wear down even the most aggressive opponent.
It's like a chess match on the court.
100%.
Sinner, with his power and aggression, trying to set the pace, and Djokovic, with his experience and tactical game, trying to outmaneuver him. It's going to be so interesting to see who comes out on top, who can impose their game plan.
And, it's worth mentioning that this is actually Djokovic's first Masters 1000 final of the year.
Oh, you're right. With all this talk about the 100th win, I totally forgot about that. Do you think that adds another layer of pressure for Djokovic? Like, does he need to prove he can still dominate at these big tournaments?
It's hard to say, honestly. Djokovic is known for thriving under pressure. He uses it as fuel. But there's no doubt that Sinner is a different kind of challenge, especially with their recent history.
It really feels like this match has implications that extend beyond just this one trophy, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
even if you're someone who only tunes in for the Grand Slams, why should they care about this match in Shanghai?
You're absolutely right. This match, it really captures a bigger story that's unfolding in men's tennis right now, a changing of the guard.
So it's like bigger than just who wins this point, who wins this match. It's about the whole future of men's tennis, right?
That's exactly it. You've got these two forces going head to head. Djokovic, he represents like experience, legacy, everything that's come before. And then you have Sinner, the new generation, pushing the limits of the sport. It's a story as old as time, but that doesn't make it any less exciting to watch.
It really gets you thinking. Can Djokovic defy, like, I don't know, age, expectations? Can he pull off this historic 100th win? Or will Sinner, really solidify his place at the top by beating a legend?
Those are the questions on everyone's mind going into this final. And honestly, the best part is it's anyone's game. There's really no way to predict what will happen.
Right.
Both players have the skills, the determination, the mental toughness, everything it takes to win. It all boils down to who can execute their game plan under pressure, who can step up and own those crucial points.
It's going to be a match for the history books, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you really want our listeners to take away from all this?
I want them to just, really savor this moment in tennis history. It's whether you're a diehard fan or you just tune in for the big matches, this is one you can't miss. A clash of styles, a clash of generations. And it's a good reminder, I think, that in sports, just like in life, the only constant is change.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you with this. What does this match mean for the future of men's tennis? Is this the dawn of the Sinner era? Or can Djokovic prove he's still got it? Guess we'll just have to watch and find out.